Warping an image. Alright, so we're going to warp around this goat a little bit. We're going to mimic that fisheye lens look that you get from fisheye lenses that are pretty expensive. So here, I have several ways of warping images, and usually I cover these sort of towards the middle of semester because they get out of hand after a while, so that's why I'm covering this a little bit into the semester rather than at the beginning. So the first thing you should do is grab the Marquee Tool and hold Shift, click and drag. What I need to do is make a perfect box around the area that I want this in, and I want to only capture the head of the goat and not much else. Oops. There we go. And now what I want to do is layer or select, modify, feather. So I'm going to feather this out to be 20 pixels. That way it kind of blends in with the body. And the more you feather it, the more you get, but then you get this soft look, so I don't want that either. So filter, distort, spiralize. And if I hit the minus key here, you'll find that I have this goat with a really small head. And you can see how it's dropped off this region. Okay? So if you find that you need to make your square a little bit bigger, you know, just do one of those numbers. You can move it after the fact. Then select modify feather. Okay. And then filter spiralize. There we go. Let's see if that works. Yep, that works. So now all the heads in there. So if you want the fisheye lens look, you just go the opposite way around. Okay. Let's cancel that. There is another one that kind of gives the same effect, and that's pinch. Okay, pinch does about the same thing. If you go in the opposite way around, it does it, but it distorts it. So you wouldn't get that fisheye lens look. It warps it out too much. But if you ever want to just bloat out a section of your photo, this is a great way to do it. You can also see that the pinch distorts where the other one does not. So we're just going to apply that filter, the spiralize effect, and we're going to make the head really small because I think it's funnier. Okay, and then hit OK. Now the other way to warp around an image, there's several ways, but the ones I'm going to cover in these videos is filter liquify. This is the one that gets out of hand. This is now it becomes a puppy warping head phase of students' careers. As soon as I show them this, usually they're on their way to do the big puppy eyes or warp their friend's head around or do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I understand. Okay, so the first thing you should know that the zoom tool, zoom in on an area. Hand tool manipulates the area. You can also use Z on the keyboard. Z and Alt work in reverse. Okay, so you can zoom in and out. Space bar on the keyboard allows you to pan. So the most popular one, of course, is the bloat feature. And your brush is a really hard thing to get down to size. If I use the bracket keys, it takes forever. Sometimes I recommend using this. It's just a lot easier. And you can, of course, warp out some eyes. Now, if I don't want to show backdrop, I don't have to. That way I can see the eye and how it manipulates. Sometimes having the backdrop on, There we go. And this one's very nice. I use this all the time when I'm drawing. Like if I mess up on something, maybe some part of anatomy or something like that, I can just kind of scooch some stuff in. Just like that. So this is a great way to tone down the belly fat too. If I use the reconstruction tool in an area, it will slowly repair it back to where it was. So it's kind of an undo feature. The rest of these run off masks and you can mirror stuff. Really not a whole lot of use out of these. Like if I want to freeze an area, I can. And what that allows me to do is if I try to manipulate it in any way, it's not going to let me. See how it manipulated around but never touched the area? So I guess that's a great way to freeze a certain area. Now, another thing about this command is be very careful. Liquify really does tax the system. I got a pretty fast system and it's really taxing on it. So if you're on a slow computer, Liquify, probably one of those things you should do only to low res objects. There we go. Now, along with this, what I want to do is cover another command. Just because I like to cover commands when I'm in the heat of battle here. See how these are warped now? They're spreading out. Well, there's two ways to repair that. There is the patch tool. The patch tool allows me to grab a patch of stuff, drag it to a patch that is not warped, and it will blend the two together. Okay, just like that. The other way to repair that is the clone stamp tool, which we'll probably be using in one of the later lessons a lot more, because I want you guys to get experts at the clone stamp tool. It's used quite often. So here, if I hold Alt, click in an area, and then click in the area to repair, it's capturing from down here and then bringing it up there. Now, sometimes it is hard to capture an area that is of worth. There we go. So that is a great way to repair those weird effects that go on with the bloat tool. Alright, pretty cool. What I would probably do is cut this area out and put it in a new foreground. So the background would be different. So that is the warping video, and please move on to the next video.